today is Palm Sunday. It's the very beginning of the Easter story. It's the day that Jesus arrived in Jerusalem by donkey, preparing to give his life for us, for you and for me. It's important to note that Jesus rode in by donkey as a sign of peace. In that time, war-waging kings rode into towns by horses. But war isn't what Jesus' arrival was about. In fact, his arrival was about the exact opposite of war. It was about hope, it was about peace, and it was about love. He wanted to bring those things into our lives by giving his very own life. Hey, before we dive into this mini lesson any further, we're gonna go ahead and play our kids break game. So you might have noticed we already talked about donkeys, and we're gonna keep talking even more about the donkey that Jesus rode in on. So what we're gonna have now is a good old-fashioned donkey race. Yes, you heard me right, we're gonna have a donkey race. So you're gonna see 3 donkeys on the screen, number 1, number 2, number 3. And they're gonna be racing across. I want you to pick which donkey you think is going to be the winner, okay? If you're here in person, shout it out. If you're at home, type it in the comments and let us know. Which of these donkeys will win the race? Okay, are you ready? Go! That was so much fun. Did your donkey win the race? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so back to our story. So Jesus was peacefully riding into Jerusalem on his donkey. The people of Jerusalem had no idea that Jesus would soon die. They were really excited about his arrival because they had heard about all of the really cool things that he had done, like heal the sick, walk on water, and show everyone God's love. They had even heard that he raised someone from the dead. So as you can imagine, they were really excited to see Jesus and that he was in their town. They wanted to see him, to praise him, and to welcome him. So Jesus did everything that he could to keep his arrival a secret. But news traveled around that he was coming, and that's why there were so many people waiting for him when he arrived. He had even arranged for the donkey without telling anyone, not even his disciples, until it was time. Side note, I told you we were going to be talking about donkeys a lot today. Did you know that the donkey Jesus rode on had never been ridden before? Isn't that crazy? That must have been really scary, right? But Jesus knew that this was all a part of God's plan, so he rode the donkey without fear because he had faith that this was a part of the plan and a part of the story that had already been written. So by the time Jesus arrived, a crowd had already gathered. They lined the streets for him. They sang his praises. They even had palm branches and they were waving them at him, and they took their coats off and laid them on the road before him. They also laid some palm branches on the road before him for him to walk over. Now that sounds kind of silly, right? But this was a sign of respect. It was a sign of honor. It's kind of like how people roll out red carpets for celebrities to walk over, or if you go to a sporting event and you're cheering on your favorite team and you have foam fingers, woo, go team! Or maybe flags that you're waving around. This was their way of giving Jesus a special entry, a way of showing him that they were excited that he was there, that they were excited about his arrival. That's why we call it Palm Sunday. They were welcoming the one that came to save them, the one that came to save us. The entire city of Jerusalem was in an uproar. They were so excited. People asked, "Who is this?" And the crowds replied, "It's Jesus." So Jesus rode his donkey through the streets of Jerusalem in a triumphal entry, just like God said he would many years before. Now, this is only just the beginning of the Easter story. Next week during Kids Break, we will learn more about what happened once Jesus entered into Jerusalem. So this week, remember the hope and the peace that Jesus brought us by riding his donkey into Jerusalem for the last time. See you next week for the rest of the Easter story.